President Trump is preparing to deliver his first State of the Union address. We'll hear it next week, just days after Congress passed legislation to keep the government open for a few more weeks. Jenna Browder is in our Washington, D.C. bureau following these stories. So, Jenna, this is a big moment for the president.
Yeah, good morning, Ephraim. It is. Tuesday night will be a big night for the president. The State of the Union address is really a chance for him to talk about what he's accomplished so far and give the American people a look ahead at what's coming up for the year ahead. Of course, the big ticket item for Tuesday night is immigration reform. Congress right now going back and forth trying to hash out a deal with the wall and with DACA. Right now, we do know some of the details about what the White House does want. There's the wall, $25 billion for that. That's what they're hoping for. Also, a pathway to citizenship for 1.8 million dreamers. Those are the immigrants brought to the United States as children. Also, he wants an end to chain migration and to the visa lottery system. So we expect him to expand on that Tuesday night.
And of course, as you said, he's going to be talking about dreamers. What do you think he'll say specifically on this issue?
He has been on the record about dreamers. He wants to keep them. Of course, it's all in the art of the deal. We'll see what the other side can bring to the table. But President Trump does want to keep the dreamers. We recently spoke with Mick Mulvaney. He's the White House budget director, and he is an integral part in these immigration talks, and he really echoed the same sentiments. My colleague on Faith Nation, David Brody, and I asked him, what is your message to these dreamers who are worried about being deported? And he said, yes, the president wants them to stay. We'll see if they can get to that point. The problem now, the challenge now, I should say, is getting to the point where Democrats and Republicans can come to the table and figure out what's a good deal for both sides.
All right. And of course, we are approaching the end of this budget deal rather quickly. Any thoughts on working out this before that happens?
Yeah, the deadline quick approaching, February 8th. You know, there are very few actual legislative days between now and then, so the odds aren't looking real good. You never know. They could pull a last-minute move. But, Ephraim, it's worth pointing out in the State of the Union address, we can expect the president to talk, of course, about immigration reform, but there are other issues as well, like infrastructure. And as we all know, he's probably going to give himself a few pats on the back, especially when it comes to the economy and the newly passed tax cuts.
Indeed, indeed. Jenna Browder, thank you so much. We know you'll be following this for us on Tuesday. We'll be checking back with you as well. Thank you. And still ahead, we are sitting down with Grammy Award nominee Travis Greene. He has a major music announcement in an interview you won't want to miss. Stay with us. And welcome back to CBN News Watch. Christian singer Jamie Gray shared some big news on Instagram Thursday. The artist announced her engagement to longtime boyfriend Aaron Collins. You can catch a glimpse of the ring on her finger in that post where she wrote, "I said yes," and she went on to say it is a reminder of how good God is and how he fulfills his promises for those who wait. Sending her much congratulations and love. Well, this is Grammy weekend, and recording artist Travis Greene could take home the prize for Best Gospel Album. Studio 5 caught up with Greene as he made his way to New York City for the Grammy celebrations. He shared how he's feeling, seeing his third Grammy nomination, and he broke some big news about his next project. Here we sit, approaching the Grammys yet again. And you are nominated for the third time. Yeah. How does it feel?
Awesome. This time is Album of the Year, which is cool. The last two times were Song of the Year. And so it's just cool, man. It's something you never get used to, you know, just really trying to enjoy the journey. And I'm just grateful for all of God's blessings. So the album Crossover, Live from Music City, is nominated. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the crossover, for people who may not be familiar with it, is what? Crossover?
Well, yeah, it's inspiring people to leave what was and embrace what's waiting. To leave the bondage of yesterday and embrace the hope of our future. And so that's what the album is about. And you waited for me, just for me. You waited, come on. You waited for me, just for me.
of the things I've heard you say and I love is you say that God forces you to live out the lyrics that you're singing. What's that like?
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough, man. But I think it's been effective, you know, because it allows me to minister from an honest place. And so just a place of transparency, a place of authenticity, a place of relevance, you know. And so, yeah, over and over, man, it's been songs that are birthed out of seasons of my life, and the songs are just real for me, and so I think it can be heard and felt when it comes across.
In terms of songs being born, it's my understanding that we're breaking news here, and that Forward City Church, where you pastor, is doing an album.
Yeah.
What can you tell us? What can you share?
I've been a part of, and I'm not being biased just because I lead the church, but I've been a part of a lot of churches. I've never seen this amount of talent and anointing kind of just in one space. I mean, it's kind of surreal. And so we want to capture we don't want to be selfish with what we get on a weekend basis. And so we're going to capture what it is that we do in worship and put it out for the world to hear.
I watch some of your live services. You guys are amazing. And it's hard
talent
to believe that, you know, you and your wife just began this a couple of years ago.
A year and a half ago, and it's about 1,000 people coming every weekend, and it just keeps growing and just keeps swelling. So we're trying to keep up with what God's doing, but it's really cool.
It is beautiful indeed. We'll have much more on that interview in the coming weeks on Studio 5. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Grammy Awards are being handed out Sunday, and not long after that, Travis Green begins his domestic tour. His first stop is Detroit. That is February 18th. We'll have more on the concert tour as well. Stay with us. There's much more of CBN Newswatch coming up right after this. Well, the weekend is here, and if your plans include heading to the movie, we've got good news for you, a family-friendly review of the film Maze Runner. Here, take a look.
What is this place?
In the movie Maze Runner: The Death Cure, there's really no maze to run anymore. By this time in the story, his hero Thomas is long past the game-like stage of running through a challenging man-made maze puzzle. But he's still running to save his life and the lives of others.
He'll show up eventually.
That's what I'm afraid of.
His world teeters on the brink of annihilation. A terrible disease known as the flare is turning men and women into crazy zombie-like things with a yen for murder. Thomas and his young friends are free from their captors now and focused on finding solutions all their own.
3 years we spent behind walls trying to break out. Now we're trying to break back in. All right, I get shotgun.
And that's going to require that they get past the many security measures of a certain organization. They'll have to run by cameras and guards, an almost maze-like set of obstacles, you might say.
Thomas, you can save your friends. Or you can save us all.
Here we have a film that serves as a dissatisfying ending to an only passable, serviceable franchise. The tale has run away from its young adult novel roots, and by this third pick in the series, it's falling short of being, well, coherent, much less enjoyable. Far less enjoyable, however, is all of its gratuitously foul language and fairly jarring violence. So I'm giving Maze Runner: The Death Cure 2.5 wicked scientists out of 5 for family friendliness. For more on the film, be sure to check out PluggedIn.com. Plugging you into the movies, I'm Bob Olszewski for Focus on the Family's Plugged In Movie Review.
And continuing our look at entertainment, a writer spins a wonderful story about his son's growing collection of stuffed animals, and they eventually give birth to the character so many of us know and love, talking about Winnie the Pooh. The real-life inspiration takes us to the big screen and back to 1926. Here's your look at Goodbye, Christopher Robin, as the film now heads to DVD.
The creatures in the story are toys. They're toys, but the woods are real. And the size is wrong. The bear should be smaller. Size of a little brother. There. Yes. Yes, that's it.
Blue, are you writing a book? I thought we were just having fun.
We're writing a book and we're having fun.
It's
the story behind the creation of the Winnie the Pooh stories. So it's really the story of the family at the time the stories were written.
You don't usually look like you're having fun while you're writing.
It's the very dapper Will Tilston.
Christopher Robin, he's a very emotional boy, and I describe him as two people, really, put into one person.
Is tonight's leading man, it's Donald Gleason.
I'm playing Alan Milne, who wrote the Winnie the Pooh books.
This is more than a few poems.
It's a little world. Like you said, 100-acre paradise.
I think the whole story is about how him and his father's relationship gets confused with all this fame, and it really is a beautiful story.
We're putting you in it too.
What will you call me in the book?
Your real name, Christopher Robin.
She is one of the hottest talents on the planet, Margot Robbie.
I play Daphne Milne, A.A. Milne's wife, and the mother of little Christopher Robin.
Life is full of frightful things. The great thing is to find something to be happy about.
Winnie the Pooh was, consistent throughout my childhood. I had a Winnie the Pooh toy and Tigger.
Ready to put the smile back on our faces?
What do we fight that war for?
Well, it is over.
What am I doing about it?
You're doing what you're good at, writing plays.
I had enough of making people laugh. I want to make them see. I need to get out of London.
In a world after World War I, when things were a bit, the country was hurt and the world was hurt, it kind of provided that innocence people felt robbed of. And I think even today in these times, people can find a bit of escape and a bit of a safe place in those books.
Mummy says you're writing a book to stop people going to war. I think your book is a jolly good idea.
You're the only one that does.
The stories are about innocence and childhood and imagination, things that are very important to remember in this day and age.
Shall we go for a walk?
Aren't you working?
It doesn't seem likely.
Could you think of a good name for a donkey?
Eeyore. They'll be gone in a minute.
Bees are good, aren't they? They just want to make honey.
Yes, I completely forgot about bees.
They kind of battle through trauma to get to something beautiful, and I think it's a very beautiful story.
Let's be hunters in the snow. Come on, don't get frostbite.
Winnie the Pooh.
It's rather
inexplicable.
Yes.
It's about his childhood and how it's sort of sacrificed to make other childhoods better.
Evening News will put Christopher on the front page.
I hope they experience something beautiful. I hope they're touched. A lot of people seem to go and have a good cry and feel good about themselves and good about their relationships.
He has to be allowed to grow up. He has to know he's important.
Radio interview, newspaper interview. He can't do all this.
He's rather good at it.
He's a little boy. Come on then.
Where to?
Home, I should think.
Remember this as we say goodbye. God keeps his promises. Rest in that word, even when circumstances would suggest otherwise. With that word, make this a fabulous Friday and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here come Monday. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.